What's going on, everybody? It's Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord, here with Mike Zuber for segment 2. What's going on, Mike?
I look forward to this one. This is one I get a lot, and yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. So, Mike and I are super excited to talk about this one because, again, we have students, we talk to people, we, talk about deals and talk through deals with them. So buyer beware. This is something that we think far too often, especially in a market like what we're dealing with today, where everything is on the market for 0.7 seconds. And if you didn't go in 12% over ask, you're not even going to get an email, Dear John letter back.
Yeah.
And so we've seen this stuff. I had my sister, put on her house last week for 349. The first day offer was 440. It was 349.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And so, guys, this is the mania that Mike and I were talking about in segment 1.
Yeah. Hello.
But the second piece is buyer beware when you start seeing some of these properties that are starting to age on the market. Maybe they've been on there for a month or 2 months, especially when you're looking at multifamily, and not multifamily big stuff, but 2, 3s, and 4s.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at something that might be sitting for a while or have gone through the process, you guys have to beware and take notice of what might be going on. So we wanted to talk about buyer beware because we just had a scenario I specifically did with somebody that bought a property that I actually looked at, and then that person ended up connecting with me through my network. And, I was the one that had to partially deliver some bad news to him. But Mike, talk about, buyer beware from your side, what you're seeing in a lot of the deals that you're even talking about there in Fresno. Talk about a little bit of buyer beware on your side, how you see that fit.
Yeah. So buyer beware is a really important topic because, a lot of people have decided to do out of town investing, whether it's like me and the out of town is 2.5 hours by car, or out of town is, 4 hours by airplane. And one of the most dangerous things I have seen, and I see it every week, is frankly arrogance.
Yeah.
And that is, okay, hey, I'm sitting on my phone in a lunch meeting and I see this house, and I'm just going to pick on Ohio. It could be Michigan. It could be any state. And, I see that days on market is 180. So it's half a year. And it's at a price point that it's in my search criteria. And of course, it has to be a great deal, right? Think about what I just said. It's on the market 180 days. It's in your criteria, and it has to be a great deal. Those three things do not go together in the market that we are currently in, i.e. your sister getting an offer of $101,000 more than asking. You shouldn't think that way. So a couple of things that I just want to be very clear. You may be sitting in California or New York or some other high-priced area looking in the Midwest. You may have the most sophisticated search algorithm known to humankind. But you should never be so arrogant to think that there aren't local investors on the ground in your market. There are. And they have networks, and they've been there. I would feel bad for someone trying to compete with me in Fresno unless you lived there.
Right.
Because I've been doing it for 20 years. And I promise you, my search criteria is as good as yours because it's all out of the multiple listing service. It's a single source of truth. And the other way is via your network. But again, if it's on the MLS for 180 days and it hits your criteria and you think it's a great deal, I promise you it's not. It's just not a great deal. For some reason that you don't see, and it's not price. It's got to be location, condition, permitting, who knows, right? Missing wiring or plumbing, half the house is missing. I mean, who knows what it could be? I've seen all of them over the years.
Yeah.
Again, never be so arrogant that there's always local people. The local people have first crack every time. Anytime I lose to something that came out, it's to someone who's local.
Yep.
So just don't do that. I mean, if something's on the market today, even 90 days, and you think it's a great deal, I promise you, every local investor has already passed. Don't be arrogant, right?
Yeah. I mean, no, that's exactly right, Mike. It's one of those things where when I was first breaking into the business, there were some properties I found like that were more work than what people wanted to do. Or it might be the case where it was on for 90 days or 120 days. It still hadn't sold. And then you can go in, do your complete inspection in that case, find why it's been staying on the market that often. There's a lot of agents and brokers that will be honest with you if you just ask them and say, any offers on this? Oh, why'd they fall apart? Sometimes they'll tell you, sometimes they won't. Largely that there's some level of disclosure that they're going to have to do, because if there was an inspection done that failed,
For sure. Yeah.
they have to disclose that. But I
Mhm.
think the key here is that it doesn't mean it's necessarily not a deal that you should do. What it largely means is that what they're trying to sell that property for is overpriced. That's largely what it means. Because I bought one where the two kitchens in the duplex were literally caving in the basement, and the beam in the basement had gone, and it was going to be a pretty decent, 12 to 14,000 bucks to,
Mm.
write the brick wall and write the flooring and write everything. It was going to be a significant expense. The only issue for me is that it was still too high priced. And so we were able to work with the price and get the price down, and the bank was finally willing to sell it.
Mhm.
This was about 10 years or so ago. But in this particular market, every market being of its own, Mike, even 60 days or 30 days is crazy,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because stuff is hitting the market and boom, it's gone.
Yeah. Again, anything that's again in this market, just never be, it really does bother me when people outside the market arrogantly think that they're the only one that saw the listing. And
Yeah,
they have some super special ninja skills that, the local investors don't have. And again, there are generations of real estate investors in every major market in the
that's
country
right. That's right.
who have networks that make mine look small.
That's right.
So every property has been looked at. The great deals are taken in seconds, if
Yep.
not minutes, maybe hours.
Or don't even hit the market,
Or yeah,
largely, right?
don't hit the market.
Yeah.
It's not, they don't only search for things that are 90 days or older, right? That's not where they're hunting for deals. So
Mm-mm.
just realize there's a story. And really, I mean, the arrogance I see sometimes, oh, it's so dangerous. That'll cost you.
It will. It will cost you. It will cost you a lot. Sometimes you could be one and done. You could spend years getting out from underneath the negative,
Mhm.
the negative numbers from that property. So just beware. This isn't as easy as Mike and I make it look in 15 minutes. We've got 20 years into this. We've got
Yeah.
tens of thousands of hours into this, teams with tens of thousands of hours. Now, it's not to say that you shouldn't start, but it is to say that I promise, if you find something that you think is just an absolute screamer of a deal, make sure you're still doing your due diligence. Mike and I can get away with taking a hit if we don't do an inspection on a property and there ends up being a $15,000 problem. Hey, cost of doing business, really wanted the deal that badly, fits the long-term portfolio, I can eat it, whatever. Many people that are starting out cannot take that hit. You can't take that hit. And so what our job, mine and Mike's, is to do is make sure that we're educating you as to what are the pitfalls out there that you can avoid, to make sure that you don't have that next deal that literally DQs you from doing a
Mhm.
deal for 3 or 5 years, or maybe 7 to 10 if it really goes sideways.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to say is this market will change. Right now, we're at 1 million units available for sale. We should be at 3.5. If we ever in a market, right, YouTube's going to be around forever. If we're ever in a market where there's 7 million listed homes and there's only, 3 million sold, yeah, then, the world's different. Maybe you
Yeah.
do look at older stuff. We're just not in that market today.
Yeah, it's just like we always say, Mike, it's every market in and of itself, what's going on. And we like to talk about national numbers, but things are, real estate is more local than anything.
Oh,
And,
it's hyper local. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you've got, 46 affordability in Fresno, and I'm still staring down the barrel of 16 here.
I'd much
You
rather
know,
be in my market than yours.
agreed. Well, you get to do deals. My deals are like, skeletons
Oh!
walking through with like one little tiny piece of meat still attached, you know? so guys, again, to really kind of wrap up this point is, please, buyer beware, do your due diligence, approach the opportunity with humility, because the agents will be more willing to help you. The inspectors will be more willing to help you. And please ask more questions than you spend time talking. I'm sure whatever you have to say is extremely impressive. And I'm sure that you feel very confident about your knowledge, understanding, and skill set. But I promise you, ask more questions than you spend time talking. And I guarantee you'll get far more value out of that relationship and out of that conversation than you ever thought you could. So, Mike, any closing thoughts?
No, I think it's well said. I think going at this with humility versus arrogance will take you a lot further and probably save your ass.
Yeah. And, that's expensive, ass saving. It's quite,
It's a big ass Band-Aid.
it's huge. Those sizes may vary. Mike, how can we find you, Mike?
Do me a favor, just type in one rental at a time. Should bring up my YouTube channel, website, book, all that good stuff.
Yeah, guys, make sure you reach out. And again, look forward to, please subscribe to this content. We spend a lot of money putting this content together for you guys. Please subscribe. Make sure to forward to people that are in that 18 to 28-year-old age group or newbies that haven't done this before. We know this will be a help to them. And even better, it's the most valuable help you can get because it's free. So subscribe, please.
There you go.
Mike, look forward to hitting on the third one. We'll talk soon.
You got it.
Thanks, Mike.
Mhm.